The one of the best parts of my night was just coming in and listening to Will Holmes. And he was talking about practice, and he was talking about preparation, and he was talking about his teammates. And he's mature, and he's humble, and he's realistic. He knows he's on a journey to become a football player, and he's just very transparent, and that's refreshing. I think for everyone, myself sitting over there, hopefully for you. There's no player speak, or I mean, that was just authentic and genuine and real. Um, and yeah, we are teachers as coaches, and we are coaches, and we are demanding, but that's how people grow. And he's becoming right in front of our eyes a really good football player, and that's so gratifying. And Bryson Barnes, his composure, his presence, his demeanor, you can see that. I mean, he's older, but you can see him blossoming. I'm talking just countenance, not even the production. You can sense it just starting to kind of drip off of him. And as a coach, yeah, it's great when you win, but the personal stories along the way are awesome. DJ Mays, D'Angelo Mays is playing corner for us today because of an injury. Um, he uh, chooses New Mexico. Really, no one else wants him. He qualifies late. Scout team player gets on the field there, I think, in week 6 to run down on kickoffs, and then transfers to Utah State, and he's in the game playing corner at Utah State against Air Force. I mean, there is so many just sub stories happening that are so fun. And our team plays hard. We're not perfect as a staff nor as a program, but they play hard and they want to win. The crowd was electric. It's fun. It's a fun environment. I don't know. I just sense the beginning of a lot of really, really cool things getting ready to happen here. Air Force is tough. The scheme is challenging. Coach Calhoun is just, man, I think 6th or 7th on the all-time win list of active coaches right now. That program, and the kids that go there, I can't say enough about them. The demand, the rigor, the academics, the training, and then playing football as well. They're remarkable. And every year when you play Air Force, it's just, man, it's a challenge. And so really proud of my staff. Coach McGivern offensively, Coach Howell defensively as the coordinators, Coach Hunter, special teams, and they have lots of autonomy. And with that comes a lot of responsibility. And I prefer organizations that are fast and flat and have everything going full speed, and they don't have to wait for the head coach to sit on this meeting and sit on that meeting. And so trust is paramount, and results keep validating that trust. And so I think we're off to a good start. But it is just a start, to be clear. We're off to a good start. It is just a start. And so another week, the players know what Tuesday looks like. Tuesday demands payment. And that's a heavy load each Tuesday. And so I already heard them talking about it in the locker room. I wish they could have enjoyed the win a little longer than thinking about Tuesday's practice, but that's kind of how life works, isn't it? So with all that narrative, I'll take whatever questions.
Coach, that first possession by Air Force, you get a fumble. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, like how important was that kind of result and then getting the touchdown? How important was that to set the tone?
Man, anytime you can steal a possession or a turnover against the academy, it's great because their intent, right, is to not give your offense possessions. And one of our foundational ways to play football is under all of our pillars, it says possession stealers. And so that was huge for sure. We got an interception late in the game, which was 2 interceptions. We're doing a really nice job, conversely, offensively, of not turning the ball over. And so Bryson and Coach McGivern have really done a nice job there. But to start the game like that, and our guys were hitting and they're physical and they're flying around, and Air Force's quarterback, he's going to be a really good player. You can see the athleticism, but it seemed like it just took him a little bit to kind of get settled in. But you saw what he's capable of at the end of the game.
Coach Minute Hall, Jason Turner from the Herald Journal. If John Miller continues to play like he has this season, how special of a season can he have?
It's remarkable. The winter and the training program then is a component. And I'd love to say that's a perfect predictor of how someone will play in the spring, but it's not. It's an indicator. And then spring practice, you look at that and you say, man, you'd hope that'd be a perfect predictor of how they play in the fall, but it's not. It's an indicator. And then you look at summer, and then you look at fall camp, and we have just kind of sensed John emerging and rising, and each game he's leading the defense in tackles, and he's productive, and he's making the most stops. There's a glass door out here, or a glass wall, where the defense kind of crams in there and meets, and John's picture's all over there, and his signature of sacking quarterbacks, and so it's just fun. Again, especially in the world of the transfer portal, if someone does transfer and they're wanted and needed desperately at that place, and then they match with the coaching staff and they have a chance then to have a great college experience. I think we hear a lot about the portal negatively, but there are instances where it matches, and it matches really well. And in John's case, it's turning out really, really positively for him and us.
Coach Mark Green with Utah Statesman. This obviously kind of week 3 now, first conference game. How much of this is kind of a measuring stick moving forward of what your team is doing?
Well, think about it this way. I was one of the interviews this week. So UTEP is a spread, no huddle, throwing football team, right? And then we just go ahead and go to Texas A&M and the SEC and play that version. And I think they won today. I'm not sure, but yeah. So let's just pause for a second and acknowledge the caliber of that team. And then why don't we just play the option the next week? So the breadth and the depth of exposures to the program is going to do nothing other than help us accelerate. But man, we've had 3 amazing weeks of preparation of just the challenges. And I think UTEP played Texas pretty well today, just from what people have told me. So I think our players are having an amazing experience. I think they're being challenged in every way possible. And I think they're having to prepare for opponents that aren't anywhere close to like each other. So measuring stick, I'd say measuring sticks. I'd put those 3 sticks together, and we're not all measured yet. I mean, we have a lot of measuring still to do, but I'm learning each time. And even in the context of each game, you can see things we need to work on. So to win a conference game against the Air Force Academy this early in this program's tenure, after traveling back from an A&M, I'm pretty proud of our guys. They did a nice job. We're not perfect, but yeah, they try hard.
Coach Patrick Mayhorn from the Ag Ship. The offensive line did a good job this week of cutting back on the negative plays, tackles for loss, sacks, penalties. What did you see from them in the past week leading up to this and then today?
They want to be better. I mean, we talk about the brutal facts in our organization, and it's completely transparent. It's not personal, but we know as a program, the number of sacks, the number of penalties, and last week against Texas A&M, the number of big plays are in the way of our program taking another step. And so we say what it is, and we work like crazy on it. And the guys know if we're hitting it or not, hitting them or not. And then we measure, and then we work. And that's what the offensive line is doing. Coach McGivern, as well as, I mean, their scheme and strategy, and you could see Air Force off balance, and the number of times they could really say this is a passing down and dial in a pass rush. There weren't many of those tonight, and so they were off balance because of the schematics of our offensive coordinator with an improved offensive line, with a more confident quarterback, and that's what we learned through 2 weeks. So you saw some of that application today, and I thought that entire group of people did a nice job.
Coach Leonard Davis, Channel 2 Sports. 49 points tonight. Bryson touched on it. He said so many pieces have to come together to score that many points, 5 on the ground, 2 through the air. What do you make of that from a head coaching perspective?
It's hard to score 49 on air. I mean, 49 points against one of the best coaches in college football and a staff that's seasoned and so experienced, and all they do is win. And they spend night and day to prepare, and then you score 49 points. That's pretty remarkable. And so the kids and the coaches deserve credit for that. They worked so hard. They gave our players great plans, but the players executed those plans. And the run game, besides Bryson, right? If you look at Miles and Javen, and then where the balls are being thrown and the type of plays, it would have been fun to just be in the stands and just watch. And I mean, there's some cool stuff happening today.
On the flip side, 30 points, but the defense showed up.
Oh yeah.
Multiple turnovers. sacks. What do you make of it?
I thought they were wild and aggressive, and they were having a blast out there. And one of the things that's really challenging when you play Air Force, you spend so much time just defending the run. Well, then if you get ahead, when do you work on closing out the game through the air? And so, it's a good situation to be in. But what we learned is there's the points at the end of the game were coming through big chunks in the air, and so you just kind of ran out of time to get good enough at closing out the game through the air. And we can fix that, and the players know that. But I'm not going to let that overshadow just how hard they played, how tough they were, and the number of plays they made on the way to that. That segment at the end can be addressed, and we will.
Carson Frost, Utah Statesman. Coach, you talked about D'Angelo Mays and just coming in and getting his first career interception. We've seen a lot of career firsts this year. We've seen a lot of people step in. I think back to Noah Flores in week 1. So just kind of talk about how these guys mentally are able to, have that next man up mentality and make this sort of impact.
I mean, we work so hard in this program. I mean, you just simply, you can't exist in this program unless you're willing to accept the demands. And those kids, I'm talking Noah and DJ, they're so diligent, and they're meeting extra at 7 a.m, and they're working their assignments, and they're working on their craft. And you come off the practice field and they won't leave. They stay out there. And I mean, they're just so sticky. They're like, they won't leave the building. They won't leave the practice field. And those were our 2 corners tonight. Right. And so, yeah, there's things we could work on, but who we're working on them with, that's pretty fun. And those kids, they deserve all the credit for that. And, yeah, I bet they wouldn't have guessed they'd be out there together closing out the game against Air Force. And it was fun to see them.
Coach Daniel Olson with Hive Sports. You've had a lot of positive things to say about Air Force. You played it before, but as we look at the Mountain West, the realignment going to the Pac-12, and on all the other teams being left behind, where do you see the future of with Air Force in terms of scheduling?
Oh, man.
And all the different teams?
Yeah, you better buckle up if you want to schedule them as the preseason. I mean, because man, that you don't sleep much, and you better do a lot of stuff in the summer to even have a chance. And I don't think that's most people's idea of a non-conference game. But the respect I have for them, I mean, the type of people that the academy produces, the type of players, the type of competitors, and who the coaches are there. Yeah, they have my respect. Air Force will be successful in any league they join. I don't know what their plans are. I don't know how you know who anybody's plans are right now. But they'll be, there's some rivalries that are going to go away that have lasted a long time. And college football the rivalries are pretty cool. So I don't know. There's some thought that will have to go into that for the college experience. But what I do know is they'll continue to have success regardless of what league, and they'd be a valuable asset to any league that they would join. And yeah, I hate the idea and the words of being left behind, because I was at the University of New Mexico last year, and that program was becoming and battling, and they had a big win too. And there's a business element, but I'm empathetic and I have some sentimental parts to me too. And it's just I wrestle with the whole idea of the college landscape a little bit.
One final question for Coach Bennett.
One final question.
Last question for me, man. Brock Lane adds at the gang a little gimpy. Is he gonna be okay?
Don't know. Not sure. And that's the challenge of playing Air Force as well. They take a toll on you. And so injury report is longer already. Trainer kept coming up to me. So-and-so's out, so-and-so's out, so-and-so. And pretty soon I was just walking away when he's walking toward me. I don't want to hear another one of those. So, but it's normal, and the style of play warrants that. And so we'll adjust the best we can.
Will, can you just talk about that first turnover you guys got on that very first possession? Just how big was that for you to get that turnover initially, and then hand the ball to the offense where they scored off?
Oh no, yeah, that was fun, man. We prepared so hard this week for this game. Probably the most we prepared for in the first 3 games, man. So that was fun. Yeah, it was just fun to celebrate with my guys and be able to make plays out there.
How important of it is it to get a win and have such a defensive dominance coming off last week's game to get a win today?
Yeah, last week's game was tough. That was a tough game. We were all kind of down after it, but we turned it around. Coach Mendenhall is great with switching the narrative and switching the mindset for the team. And like I said, we practiced hard this week, and we were very prepared out there today.
What was the overall message, if you can share? What was that?
Just keep going. He really believed that we could have won that game, and we do too. We just had some mental mistakes out there, a lot alignment issues. We just had a few plays that got away from us. But we prepared hard for that week too. Coach Mendenhall is such a great coach, man. Like how we prepared, no other coach in the country prepares their team like he does, man. So we're truly grateful for him, and we're gonna keep it going.
What did you see on film this week? Obviously, a totally different offense to prepare for this week that you guys clearly took advantage of. What were some things you saw on film as a defensive player?
Yeah, that was the first time I played against a team that just runs the option like that, just runs. So coaches really took their time with me this week, which I really appreciate. And I was starting to really get it down towards Thursday and Friday. I was feeling really confident out there. I knew what I was doing, knew my alignments, knew my assignments, just right up the formation. So yeah, we prepared heavy.
Overall, what does this do for your confidence as well as your teammates' confidence being prepared for next week?
Our confidence is, again, Coach Mendenhall, as your coach, man, like how do you not be confident? We're so confident in ourselves. We trained so hard this offseason. And fall camp was hard, and just everything is so hard that the games just come easy. And that's the design of this program, and it shows when it's time to go.
Will, Jason Turner from the Herald Journal. My first name's actually William, but I go by Jason.
Oh, cool.
I'm sure you want to know that. Anyway, I mean, you were a minor league baseball player. You pitched. I mean, how gratifying has it been you took a chance on yourself. How gratifying has it been to see that you can have this second act athletically in your career?
Yeah, it's truly like inspiring, like just for myself, man, just to show how far I've come, to be able to get drafted and play for 6 years. And then when that came to an end, I had my struggles. I just took a leap of faith, and I just went with it. Last year was my first year like ever playing football in my life, so I started to gain a lot of confidence, especially like from Coach Mendenhall, like how he pushes us and just the talk that he gives us, man. Like his meetings are just truly inspiring, and just he's a teacher more than a coach. So a lot of my confidence comes from just the coaching staff, just how much they believe in us and how much they push us to be great.
William, Carson Frost with the Utah Statesman. So John and Tyree also get career highs today with tackles. Just how was it for you to kind of see your whole defense clicking tonight and multiple guys having their career bests?
Yeah, man, it was awesome out there. Like we were so confident. Like I said, we prepared hard this week, and just seeing everyone. John's a dog, man. Like he's been our number one guy leading tackles first 3 games. So it's just cool to see just a team effort. I feel like that was a team effort. Like everyone did fairly well.
Daniel Olson with the Hive Sports. You mentioned that you're super confident, and it seems like you guys are really close on having more turnovers. How confident are you that you'll be able to maybe get like 2+ like more turnovers in the future? And like what do you think it'll take to keep expanding that turnover margin?
Oh yeah, it's our coaches, man. The scheme is great for every week, man. Like we practice hard, and we really train at game speed like every Tuesday and Wednesday. And I think that really prepares us for the game. And when we go out there, we know what to do. They're very hard on us in practice, and that just translates over to the game. Like, that makes the games easy. So when we get out to the game, like there's no one's self-guessing, no one's second-guessing. We know what to do, and we know our alignments, assignments, and we just play hard.
Bryson, you're obviously a touchdown magnet in this game. What did you see in preparation for this game that obviously worked out for your team?
Man, I think there's a lot of things that go into touchdowns to begin with. Like there's so many moving parts. Everybody's got to be executing. Everybody's got to be on the same page. And I feel like that really kind of came into fruition with my run plays down in the low red zone. And like I want to say on 2 of them, I was untouched. And so I just really feel like, that's a lot of dudes working together, executing, doing their job. And I'm just lucky to be able to be carrying the ball right there. It just happens to be me in that moment, but 11 guys executing, good things happen.
Hey, good things was happening on defense as well. Got that good turnover. I mean, instant smile on your face, but you got to go and do it and make the play happen.
Yep.
And you did. Just that moment in itself catapult you guys to go on to this win. What did that moment mean to you?
Man, I think it's great. Anytime you can come out of a half or come out first drive in the game and go put it in the box, I call it the box. It's a great feeling, and that's a great momentum starter. And on top of that, I mean, with that defensive turnovers create momentum. Getting touchdowns on first drives create more momentum, and I feel like that really kind of set the tone for the game and kind of what we were going to be about throughout all 4 quarters.
So Blake, or Bryce, excuse me. Early on in the game, the run didn't quite come along until later in the game, but the passing offense was there, and that kind of led the way for some of those early points. Just what was going into that ability for you guys to move the ball well through the air early and really most of it?
Yeah, I feel like you kind of have a game plan of kind of what you think is going to happen in the game, and then everything in the game it almost forces your hand in a way where what we thought was going to work, maybe it wasn't working as well, and so we were able to kind of make adjustments, make these little tweaks of what was going to work. And once we found that, we continued to do it over and over and over again, and good things happened, obviously.
Bryce and Jason Turner from the Herald Journal. How important was it to immediately put them in a 2-possession deficit in the second half, and then how big was it for the defense to immediately get a 3 now, and you were able to add to that lead?
Yeah, no, I think it's great, especially when you play a team like Air Force and that offense that they run. If you can make them play from behind and play from behind early, you can kind of force certain play calls, try to get them into a passing game, which that's not what they want to do. And so, that it is a really big deal getting up 2 possessions early and trying to, force what they're trying to do offensively.
Bryson, Carson Frost, Utah Statesman. I feel like today your O-line gave you, more time, more protection than we've seen all year. Got sacked only twice and just had a lot of time back there. So just talk about the work they've been doing, the growth they've had. I know that they're also pretty banged up as well with injuries. So just what do you see from them this week?
I mean, just kind of on the point of like the injury stuff, it's a next man up mentality. And each and every dude, they come in and they just work each and every day. And, obviously we've addressed the problem about the protection, but like there's so many different things that go into the protection. And it's not just about those guys up front. There's so many other moving parts that kind of go into the protection. But that's obviously been our emphasis. So it's great to see that we're making strides moving forward. And I'm really excited about how it's going to look moving forward because of the strides we were able to make tonight.
5 total touchdowns on the ground today. Outside of a good defense, a run game is your best friend. What does it mean to you to just see that stat line and know that you guys came together?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like to pay attention to too many stat lines. I like to just focus on, getting a win. I mean, regardless of what that stat lines look like, it could be 7 touchdowns, it could be 2. I just want to go out there and I want to do whatever I can do to get us a win. And so that's what we did tonight, and I'm excited about it.
Bryce, one thing I actually just kind of noticed is that of the 12 drives you had, not a single one of them went longer than 2 minutes and 41 seconds. Kind of evokes memories of 2018 when that offense was lightning quick. Is that maybe a bit of an identity forming with this offense, is scoring quickly?
Yeah, I think, that's a crazy stat. Obviously, at the end of the day, it all comes down to how we're executing, and we're able to put all the pieces moving together. We're able to score fast, and you can kind of see like when we're in rhythm and we stay on schedule, like good things are happening for our offense. So I think that's really got to be our plan moving forward to keep that going.
What can you say about Brandon Fagan? He obviously had a great night. What can you say about him as a quarterback to wide receiver?
Yeah, he's been putting in a lot of work, and it's great to kind of see that work pay off for him. And you can definitely see it from a quarterback perspective, the way he creates separation with guys, the way he finds open zones. That's just because of the work that he puts in and the study and the learn and apply that he's been doing in the classroom, putting it out on the field, and it paid off for him tonight.
What can you say about this win moving forward to next week, the confidence that comes with a win as a team and as a leader?
Yeah, it's always a good feeling when you have a win. Saturday, you feel good. Sunday, bruises don't hurt as bad. You come in Monday, get back with the guys. It's a great feeling. And obviously, wins create momentum. And we just got to keep that ball rolling each and every week.
Bryson, Daniel, Wilson with Hype Sports. You have like half the penalty yardage that you had last week, so a lot better. So what do you think led to that? Was that the focus this week?
Yes, I feel like kind of the same thing with the protection thing. There's a lot that kind of goes into the penalties and stuff. And I feel like a lot of our stuff has been pre-snap, and so that's stuff that's easily fixable. That's stuff that is completely on us. It's not by the way we're playing. We're not playing dirty. We're not getting a ton of holds. It's all about the stuff that's happening before the play. So that's stuff that we're able to address, clean up in practice, because if you clean it up in practice, it's going to look better in the games.
Last question for me. Obviously just 3 games so far. It's very early. But what can you say you're most proud of your team so far?
I just think about how far we've come. Everybody's kind of adopted this new system with Mac G, Coach McGivern. I call him Mac G. And, there's a lot of moving parts into it. We have a lot of plays, but that's because we can handle it. So we have a lot of disposal at our hands. You see us dabbling in 30 personnel, 31 personnel, and then we're out there in 11. And so there's kind of a lot of things that we're able to do offensively. And so being able to do that and execute at a high level, that's what I'm most proud about.
One more question over here. Third downs, I think you guys like 4 of 20 something on third down for the season. 4 of 9 tonight's obviously much improved as well. When that drastic improvement there on third.
What was the stat tonight?
It was 4 of 9 on third
Okay.
downs.
No, yeah, that was, there's been a lot of things that we've been maybe not doing well that we were able to address. And I feel like I'm super stoked because today was a perfect example of the things that we weren't doing well, being able to put that on tape of the things that we've cleaned up and got better. And so that's what just makes me fired up moving forward.